Okay, perfect. I think we can get started. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. We've got a great topic today and a great subject on how we have updated our mapping in the US for our market boundaries, and how to kind of how things have changed and how it's hopefully made it easier and better for you to help identify and analyze short-term rental markets. So we're joined today by our SVP of Analytics, Jamie Lane, and Chief Economist. He's going to be taking you through the changes. I want to get the full title in there, Jamie. And just before we do get started, just some housekeeping. So any questions you may have that come up throughout the webinar, please feel free, sorry, to drop them in the Q&A, and we will do our best to answer those at the end of the call. We will be sending out a recording of this webinar, so if for any reason you have to drop out, you'll get that as well by the end of the week. And I think that's it, actually. So yeah, just any questions you have, just remember to put them in the Q&A. And with that, I'll hand over to Jamie. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. So we're going to jump in. I'm going to share a deck that we're going to walk through. And the deck is mostly just screenshots of the app that sort of highlight some of the things we want to talk through. And then we'll dig into some actual examples in the app. So why remap? Why have we done this? Why have we changed things up on everyone? Number one thing is we think that this is going to be a much better experience. So just walking through the prior state of the app, not to sort of highlight things that are bad, but to sort of give some reasoning why we took on this project, and we'll get through on why we think it will be of benefit to all of our subscribers. One is prior to our remap project, there were 20,000 cities available for analysis in the US. That's great. Like the fact that we give you the ability to analyze every single city is one of the reasons why people subscribe to AirDNA. We have full coverage, every single listing. The problem is that we're using the definitions of the cities provided by the government. And most of those cities didn't have enough supply of listings to actually start to generate meaningful analysis. So, for example, 17,000 of those 20,000 cities had fewer than 50 listings. That's about 20% of the supply of the entire US. What that also means is that 80% of the supply was located in just 3,000 cities. Then 13,000 of those 20,000 cities had fewer than 15 listings. So that's the vast majority of cities within the app. You really had no ability to generate insights out of within our tools. So you look at historical monthly occupancy and ADRs. There's just so much movement in and out of individual listings, listings coming in, listings coming out, really making the mix change. And because there's such a small sample size, it means that you're really have no ability to look at year-over-year change, compare that market on how it's, compare that city, how it's been changing over time. And then also our smart rate algorithms were really dependent on our city definitions. And with 13,000 of those cities having fewer than 15 listings, that meant that we were not able to generate smart rates for those listings. So if you were one of the unfortunate subscribers that was in one of those cities, many of the features and functionality that we provide to our clients were unavailable because the city didn't have a large enough sample size. And when you went into the map, and this is what you saw. So and you zoom in on any given area, and every city essentially treated the same in terms of the view, and very hard. You think of so many clients sort of starting out on their short-term rental journey of investing, finding markets to invest in. When you start with a list of 20,000 cities, and it's almost overload in terms of what markets do I start analyzing? How do I compare these markets against each other? When you've got a city with 20,000 listings or a city with just 10 or 15,000 listings. And then, and just to give some visuals, these are some screenshots we took of the app prior to going live. And one sort of city pointed out, or wanted to point out, and this was very typical. Um, so you go into Washington State. I visited this town, Loomis, and it just had, and driving through, it just had 5 short-term rental listings. You look at a lot of the stats, you see 100% year-over-year changes. So really data that's just not great. You look at total active listings, are just one, and 5 listings available at any point over the past year. So if you're one of those listings, you really don't have data available for you to analyze or compare yourself against. Uh, so we thought we could do better. And this is a quick visual of what the market definitions look like. So we've summarized the country now, instead of 20,000 cities, into 317 markets. And those 317 markets, uh, every single listing in the United States falls into one of those 317 markets. And then each market is then subdivided into submarkets. And there's roughly 6,600 submarkets. And each listing in the United States is also part of a submarket. So now, instead of each listing essentially just being part of the city, and some of those cities being subdivided into neighborhoods, or the ability to analyze by zip code, now every single listing is part of a larger market that allows you to get a sense of overall market trends, like how's the entire area that you're sort of competing with um, performing. Or you can dig into your submarket, which is going to be much more granular in the area that you're actually competing with within a city, maybe your neighborhood, or if you're in a more rural area, it's typically the city. And a lot of times it's the exact same city that we were showing before, but just organized into a higher level market. So going back into that example of Loomis. So what happens now? So if you type in Loomis into our market search bar, we've actually gone in and mapped all our old markets and also all the old zip codes to tell you what is the new market or submarket that now falls into. So when I typed in Loomis, it now tells me that that's a submarket within the Northern Cascade market, within the submarket of Oroville, and that's what now contains Loomis. So you can quickly click on that, and it's going to take you into now a submarket that contains about 120 listings, allowing you to compare yourselves to properties nearby within that larger submarket. For a market like Atlanta, and this is very true of essentially the top and 50, 75 largest metro areas in the United States, our market net definition now is going to essentially be the metro area of Atlanta, of Denver, of Washington, D.C., New York, Orlando, the like. And then the submarkets within that market are going to be the individual neighborhoods. And we'll zoom into some of those markets so you can see those examples. So for those of you that were using and some of the markets that we had defined neighborhoods, a lot of those stayed the same. But now the entire market is going to be defined into named neighborhoods, not just a few like in the urban core. And that's going to allow comparing all the submarkets in a city against each other. So if you've decided that you're going to be investing in a market like Atlanta, now you can dive into the 80 submarkets within Atlanta and find those best places to invest. Or find and easily allow you to compare yourself to other properties within that same submarket. So here, when I click into Atlanta, you see the best areas that it's saying to invest in are both the downtown core, out into eastern edge of Atlanta and also up into the northern suburbs, which we show as a relatively high market score. Uh, One of the other exciting things that we did was, unlike metro areas, a lot of the traditional vacation rental markets is a collection of cities. So what we've done is in those type of areas, and the example that we gave was here is Coachella Valley. We've now brought in all the different cities that are make up Coachella Valley into a single market. So you can still look at all the individual cities within Coachella Valley. So compare Palm Springs, Coachella, Palm Desert, Indio, the like. And you can see how they compare against each other in that sort of submarket view. And then when you're looking at the submarket view, it's going to give you the boundaries of all the submarkets there, again, along with the market score. So if uh, Coachella Valley or Lake Tahoe or the Adirondacks or the Berkshires or Cape Cod are markets that you might want to or think about investing in, but you're not sure where in the Adirondacks or where on Cape Cod that you'd want to invest in. This allows you to narrow down to that market definition and then start comparing the submarkets against each other. And then the other sort of problem set that we are going about solving with submarkets and markets was what to do with all the rural areas. Because there's so much of the country and so much of the growth that we've seen in short-term rentals that really fall outside of their traditional and metro areas or combined vacation rental markets. And so this is a visual of what rural or Alabama looks like. So we've removed out the markets of Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, and Huntsville, and this is all that's left. And what we see here when we sort of squint, a lot of the listings within Alabama are located around sort of lakes or small college towns. Um, and sort of circled a bunch of them here. And now when you go into the app, you're going to see every single one of those sort of groupings of short-term rentals now combined into and the specific submarkets. So you've got Lake Martin, you've got Guntersville Lake, you've got Florence and the Shoals to the east of Florence. That I really call out these groupings of short-term rentals, and instead of having them like Lake Martin before was about 20 different cities, of which each one of those cities didn't really have enough properties in any given one city for aggregate analysis. Now that we've combined them all together of all the properties sitting on that lake, you can now dig deeper into the performance of all those properties sitting in that submarket. So that's sort of the prepared view. Now I'm going to actually show in the app what this looks like. And for some reason, there we go. So now let's go into the app. So this is what the view looks when you first go into the US. So you're going to see the list of markets over on the left. And what's fun is, and we've gone in and gotten an image for each city so you can get a visual there. And then you can also navigate to individual cities, individual submarkets by using the map on the right. With this sort of organization of markets, we've also defined them into different location types. So when I start to search, let's say I'm interested in just coastal locations. So now I apply that filter and I'm going to see now all the markets that are in our coastal locations. So Kauai, Savannah, Big Island, Jacksonville, Key West, Naples, which is going to allow for comparison of performance of just different coastal markets. If I want to look at Mountain Lake, I can now dig into those. So you see Joshua Tree, Gatlinburg, Boone, North Carolina, the North Georgia mountains. Um, I can also look at large urban areas, smaller mid-sized cities, um, and also, let's say I was talking before about sort of the small city rural areas. So now we're going to get into comparison of a lot of different market sort of areas. So this is just like when we are looking at rural Alabama, but the best way probably to go in and start analyzing these is go into submarket view. So now I'm going to be seeing all the submarkets in the US that are in the rural areas that I can sort of compare against. Likewise, I can also maybe go directly into Alabama area and I can show you guys um, what that looks like. Alabama area. So now as I zoom in, and at the first view, I'm always going to see is all the listings in that area. And then if I want to see the submarket boundaries, I can click there. And now I'm going to see each submarket boundary. I can hover over. I can see there's Lake Martin. I can go to Talladega. I can go up to Guntersville Lake. And now, as I'm sort of moving throughout the app, I'm going to see the definition of that submarket and then all the listings that are in that submarket. One of the fun things too, now that we've got the entire country remapped, is when I go in, you can use this map to sort of visually go around to the different areas. So what is the definition of Cape Cod and sort of high level performance? Long Island, New York, Lower Hudson Valley. I mentioned the Adirondacks earlier. So you can see really how we defined all the different vacation rental markets throughout the world or throughout the country. We've done this in conjunction with a lot of the local DMOs. So this isn't just us deciding what the Adirondacks is. This is the local Adirondacks DMO and how they define it. So we've really tried to stay true and if someone says that Adirondacks are talking about the Poconos, the Poconos over here, that we're going to use what is sort of the agreed upon definition of what the Poconos are when analyzing that market and then the subsequent submarkets. So that's our overview of our new market and submarket definitions. I will say that this is something that will continue to iterate some over time. And so if you have suggestions on how we can make a market definition better, how we can make a submarket definition better to reflect maybe an area you really know well, feel free to share that with us. Hello at airdna.co, or reach out to me directly, Jamie at airdna.co. Happy to look at the suggestions and incorporate them into the app in future releases. So with that, Tom, we're happy to take some questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Jamie. So yeah, as Jamie says, any questions you do have, please do drop them in the Q&A. So we've just got one at the moment. Just is this replacing the rentalizer report? So it's not replacing the rentalizer. We still have that feature available. Does it come under a different name? Yeah, Jamie's just showing it here. So it's available in the search bar at the top, and it's that revenue calculator option there. So then you can input an address, and that will give you the projection for the address that you enter.
Yeah, and just to double click on that a little bit, these new market and submarket definitions have no impact at all on the rentalizer, our revenue calculator. That when it goes to that tool, when it goes to search for comps to use in those projections, it's going by distance from that subject, and it's not limiting to any one city or submarket when it does that search. So our rentalizer calculator would not be impacted at all by this change of market and submarkets.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a question here from Fred. So I think for that, I would recommend reaching out to our customer support team. So that's on the same email address. That's hello@airdna.co, and they'll be able to help you with that issue you seem to be having. Question from Judy. So when is this rolling out and how will it affect pricing?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Jimmy.
So it's already out. We released it last week to everyone, all our subscribers. So if you go into the app now, you're going to see all these markets and submarkets reflected in the app. And then how it reflects pricing. As of today, that hasn't changed. We wanted to get these out first. Our pricing models are still using the old city definitions. And essentially, we're just allowing our data science team to continue to test and iterate on the changes that we're going to need to be made to our pricing model to be able to incorporate in the new markets and submarkets. So as of now, no change on our pricing models. There will be a change, we think a very positive change in the future as we start to incorporate these market and submarkets into those pricing models, but no change yet.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. So Tommy asking if we can do a walkthrough of how to find a high quality neighborhood within a market.
Yep.
There's a lot of, well, yeah, Jamie, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. So let's say let's find a random, or let's say Atlanta. It's a city I live in, sitting in now. So let's say I wanted to invest in Atlanta. So first thing you're going to see is instead of just a random list of some neighborhoods called out and some zip codes listed, every single neighborhood, every single submarket is going to be named in here. So you can get a very simple view of what area and the performance you're looking at. And then we do run our market score for every single submarket across the US. And we're actually highlighting that by the colors on this map. So just by looking here, you can get a high level view of what areas might make most sense to invest in. And then as you zoom in now, you're going to start to see the different neighborhoods. So we've got Old Fourth Ward as a 90 score in terms of the market score. And when we go back and look, actually, downtown Atlanta had the highest overall score, followed by Roswell, Norcross, and Old Fourth Ward. So Old Fourth Ward was ranked number 4 out of 78 in terms of submarkets to invest in. We can go up here to Roswell, one of the others up in the North Atlanta area. And then if you want to dig in a bit deeper in understanding and why that submarket is generating a high score, you can sort of see the underlying details here. And here you see, and Roswell seeing strong revenue growth, decent rental demand, and very high seasonality scores. So essentially, there's almost no variability throughout the year in terms of overall demand. So essentially, all seasons peak season in Roswell. If you did want to maybe just pull out submarkets with a higher score or investability score, we could search maybe just to Atlanta, apply, and then we could maybe sub search on investability score. And I'm not sure if this happens for markets or just submarkets. It only applies to markets, so you can't apply that there. But this would sort of maybe if I was looking for the best coastal or urban markets, let's go to urban suburban areas, and I want just markets with high investability scores. So let's maybe go a 90 and above. Doesn't look like there's a lot of urban or suburban areas with a 90 or above. So maybe just let's get some of the lowest ones. So Oklahoma City being a strong market. And then you can see all the submarkets within Oklahoma City and how they compare against each other. So again, this one looks like the sort of urban core in Oklahoma City having some of the best overall scores here. So downtown Oklahoma, 89, East Side Oklahoma, a 94.
Perfect. Thank you, Jamie. Another question here, I guess this is kind of asking what's coming next in the pipeline, I suppose. How do we see the market analysis tool evolving in the future, I guess? Can we share any insights now of what's coming up next?
Yeah, we definitely have some enhancements coming to the overview pages on the type of insights that you get and are able to get to an understanding how a market's performing, sort of what's driving the difference in different markets. And then we've got some pretty significant improvements coming to our rentalizer tool, as well as our host tools coming up. So many people sort of don't know that we have this whole other section called host tools that allows you to upload your listings and generate really customizable analytics around your property. We've got dynamic pricing, but you can actually set up specific comp sets for each listing, and then analyze. So this is one of my listings, and then you could actually analyze how your property's performing relative to your comp set out into the future. So for each of the properties that you're managing, look at forward pacing, look at for both yourself, your comp set, as well as into your overall markets and submarkets here. So this is one way where one place where we're going to continue to invest further in, and you'll see improvements over the next quarter or two.
Perfect. Thank you, Jamie. So no more questions. Bradley, I would recommend reaching out to our support as well for that issue. They'll be able to look into that instance view and give you an answer. So yeah, again, that's hello@airdna.co for our support team. So that does it for all of our questions. So I think we can wrap it up there. As I said at the beginning, a recording of this will be sent out to all of you if you want to watch it back. Thanks again for joining us today. And Jamie, thank you very much for walking us through.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tom.
All right, thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.